Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In today's lesson, we will talk about different moods of the imperfect tense. The imperfect tense is fi'l mudare. This is also called the present tense. All right. So before we talk about the present tense, I'll just quickly remind you of the past tense. And a major segment of today's class is to just go back over our verbs and to basically recall and strengthen recollection of the different types of verbs, or the at least the conjugation of the verbs. So the past tense is very straightforward, and I'll just say this again with you. So if we start with third person masculine, we have fa'ala, fa'ala, fa'alu. So notice in the plural past tense we have this waw and then the alif. And then for female we have fa'alat, fa'alta, fa'alna. So this is just a short na. Then second person we have fa'alta, fa'altuma, fa'altum. And second person female is fa'alti, fa'altuma, fa'altunna. And then first person is fa'altu, fa'alna, fa'alna. So these are highlighted because these two sound very similar, but obviously when we are in first person, then it's known alif, so it's slightly longer. Whereas when we are in third person female, it's a short fa'alna. And that's why when you study Arabic from Qari Sahib, there is a lot of emphasis on, where to make a short sound and where to make a long sound, because that changes the meaning. Also, we notice here that lat. So this is actually in here we don't have that much overlap. But when we come into the imperfect tense, then there are overlaps, and also in the imperfect tense now, we have three different moods. So you might recall with nouns, when we started our study of Arabic, we said that there are three cases: rafa, nasab, and jar. Similarly, when we talk about fail mudare, so fail mudare, this is present tense, or it's also called the imperfect tense. With fail mudare, we have three moods. The first mood is rafa. So if fail mudare is in a rafa state, the full Arabic term for this is fail mudare marfu. So this sound, it sounds like rafa. So a noun, a verb that is in rafa form is called marfu. So the summary here is to just say, or the short form is to say marfu. The long form is to say fail mudare marfu. This is the default. So this means that if there is no reason for a fail to be in one of these other moods, then the default is that it is mudare marfu. So if you are not sure, or you can't find a reason for one of these other moods, then your default assumption is that we are working with fail mudare marfu. And everything that we've studied so far is the marfu form, or the marfu mood. Then the next mood is nasab. And when a present tense verb, fail mudare, is in nasab form, then we say it is mansoob. So that's written like this. It's with a swad. So fail mudare mansoob. Now the question is, when is a fail mudare in this nasab or mansoob form? And the answer is that there are certain key words or harf. When these harf are operating on a verb, then the verb changes into mansoob form. And there are several harf that cause a verb to become a mansoob, and we'll see examples of that. But there are four key words, and these words need to be memorized. And of these four, the one that shows up most often in the Quran is lan. So lan is basically a very emphatic negation, and a negation in the sense that this will not happen. There is a famous ayah in the Quran, lan tanal al birra. So that is basically saying you will not achieve to piety unless, and then there are certain conditions given. But there are these huruf, and the four major huruf are lan, an, izan, and kai. We'll be discussing these in detail shortly, and we'll be going over the meanings. But the point for you to remember right now is that there are certain words, in particular these four, that cause a fail modare to get into mansoob mode. Then the third and final form is called jazm. And when fail modare is in jazm form, then it's called majzoom. So majzoom comes from jazm. So this is written like this. It's with a jim and a za, so majzoom. Now, just to help you remember this and connect this back with nouns, in nouns we also have a rafa form, we have a nasab form, but then in nouns we had a jar form, which was used for possession and which is used when we have harfe jar. But with verbs we have rafa, and the form of a rafa is different from what we see in a noun, and we'll see the forms shortly. So there's rafa, there is nasab, and then there is jazm. So with verbs we have jazm, and with nouns we have jar. So these two are different. A verb will go into jazm form when there are certain huruf that are acting on it. And here again I'll give you the four most common ones. Lam is a negation that takes us in the past tense, and then we have lamma, li, and la is also a negation. So we will be discussing these in the next lesson. So today I'm going to focus more on these words, and we are also going to focus on how to recognize whether a verb is in marfu form, mansoob form, or majroor form. All right. So hopefully what you are seeing here should look familiar. So these,
Arif sir,
yeah,
I have a question.
yeah.
So, in the previous slide, do these words also act? Do they only act on madare, or they also act on mazi?
They only act on, in terms of changing the form of a verb, they only change the form of the mudare. So you might see these in some cases with the past tense or madhi. So, but the madhi verb will always look like this. So the third person past tense will always, have this form. It is sort of, another way of putting it is that the past tense verb, it's like Isa words. Do you remember what Isa words are?
Right.
What are Isa words?
They don't change.
They don't change. So they're like rafa, nasab, jar, always look the same. Similarly, no matter what is operating on past tense never changes. So I just, sort of jokingly say that, past tense, we don't have any moods. So what's happened has happened. So with the past tense, there are no moods, it's always the same.
Right.
All right. Whereas the present is more moody. In the present tense, we have like these three different moods: rafa, nasab, and jazm. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now, does this look familiar? What are you looking at here? This is a conjugation of the present tense, and again we'll just do this quickly. And I want that that you learn this well, because in our test that we'll have at the end of this month, I'm going to sort of retest you on this. So third person masculine yaf'alu, this means he is doing. Yaf'alani, the two of them are doing. Yaf'aluni, all of them are doing. That's third person. And then taf'alu, taf'alani, yaf'alna, this is third person female. Taf'alu, so notice second person male and third person female are the same. From context we figure out which one is what. Taf'alani, taf'aluna, so second person, so this is second person male, second person female is taf'alina, taf'alani, taf'alna, and then first person is af'alu, naf'alu, nafalu. So with first person singular we bring in an alif, and then for dual and plural we bring in a noon. So all this is a recap. I hope that I hope that you remember this. If not, you need to learn this. It's very important. Now, a few important points I want to make here before I show you the mansoob form and the majzoom form. Notice that for all the singulars, or almost all the singulars, except for second person female, which is a bit of an oddball case, we have a dhamma or a pesh over here. All right. So that's one point to note. And this is a characteristic of the marfu or rafa form. So this is in rafa form, or we say that the verb is marfu. So both these terms are important. So rafa is the name of the state, and a verb which is in the rafa state is called marfu. So marfu is describing the verb that is in rafa form. So in general, like with nouns, the rafa form is characterized by dhamma in most cases. And then in almost all these other cases, except for, the first person, we have a noon at the end. And before showing you the mudare mansoob and the mudare majzoom, I'll categorize and I'll make this slightly funny so that you can remember this. There are two types of noons. There are the noons that are associated with female plural. So this noon over here, yafalna and tafalna. So these are in Arabic also, these are called noon and niswa. So these are the noons that represent female plural, and these noons are very strong. So just imagine a whole group of women together, that's extremely strong. These noons will always stick. Whereas the other noons, which are the noons associated with male plural or dual, these noons are much weaker, and you'll see shortly why I'm saying that. Okay, now over here I'm showing you mudare mansoob. So you might recall that there are certain huruf or certain words, when they are operating on the verb, they change the verb into mansoob. For example, if we have lan, so lan before a verb will change it into mansoob. So I'll write this over here, mansoob. So this is mansoob. Okay, now what is the difference? Notice that wherever we have this dhamma, the dhamma gets changed into a fatha. So that should look familiar. All right. So how do you know something is mansoob? A verb is mansoob if the dhamma is changed into a fatha. So that's one change. If the verb ends in a noon, and this is not the female plural noon. So remember, the female plural noons are very strong. Those will never get dropped. Okay, women together, very strong, don't mess with them, right? So these noons will not ever get dropped. Whereas all the other noons, so this male dual, the plural, all the noons associated with dual, the noons associated with male plural, notice these get dropped. So in the mansoob form, the noons other than the female plural noon, or the noon and niswa, niswa is for like feminine. So other than noon and niswa, all the other noons get dropped. So you notice all these noons are dropped. And when do we have something in mansoob? When we have these four huruf that come beforehand. There are a few others, but these four are the major ones. And then I'll make one more point and then take some questions. Then we have majzoom. So majzoom, a verb is in majzoom form when we have these four, and then a few more, but these are the major ones. So what is majzoom? Majzoom actually is, as in, comes from a situation where mostly the last letter has a sukoon. So notice in majzoom form, wherever there was a dhamma, we now have the sukoon. So taf'al over here. So taf'al. So in general, where there is a dhamma, we now have a sukoon. where there is a noon other than the female noon. So these female noons never get dropped, female plural noons, noon and niswa, but all the other noons get dropped. There are a couple of tricky ones here, like taf alina. So this one I would, have trouble. I would keep forgetting this one. Second person female singular is taf alina, but this noon is associated with a single female. So single female noon is not strong. So this gets dropped. When this noon gets dropped, we have taf ali. So we have taf ali over here, taf ali over here. So notice when we drop the noon, the form for mansoob and majzoom looks the same. And since mansoob and majzoom looks the same, from context we know whether it is mansoob or majzoom. So for example, if the verb is preceded by lan, and we have lan taf ala, for example, we know this is mansoob because of lan. If we have lam taf ala, then we will know that this is majzoom because it's preceded by a lam. All right. Now, I sent these slides. If you have them handy, that's great, because we are going to use this. Obviously, for you to internalize this, it's important that you, first of all, remember, this basic form, modare marfu, which is what we've learned before. It's just that I'd never given you this name. And now, again, I will summarize the difference between rafa and mansoob and then rafa and majroor. So difference between rafa and mansoob is all the dhammas become fathas and the noons drop, except if they are female plural noons. All right. And for majzoom, all the rafas become sukoons, all the noons drop, except if it is a female plural noun. All right. Okay. Now, this is where your action starts, and I'm going to have you work through this. This is not that easy. What I want you to do is you need to pick the mood. So I'll give you a hint that each of these is either in marfu form. So either it is marfu or it is mansoob. The way you do this is, first of all, identify the root words, and I'm going to give you the rules, and then we'll go one by one and go through this. This will also help us know who's learnt the material so far and who's not. So figure out the root. What does the root mean? And then based on your verb conjugation, whether it's second person, third person, singular, plural, you need to figure that out. And then based on what you see at the end, you need to figure out whether this is marfu or mansoob. So here, at least I'm telling you that there is no majzoom. So everything is either marfu or mansoob. I will do the first one for you, and then I will pick people so that you can do the following ones.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
We'll go forward.
Yeah.
I missed one part initially. You're talking about the moods. I'm actually confused. The mood word. What kind of mood are you talking about?
Well, yeah, sometimes these choices of words, just like in when we were discussing nouns, we said a noun can be in three, they got three cases or three states: rafa, nasab, jar. All right. Similarly, for a present tense verb, fail mudare, you can say, as in, when you read grammar books that are written in English, the three different states of a present tense verb are generally referred to as moods. Now, why it's called a mood, I'm not sure. But what you do need to know, though, is, when you see a verb in this form, this is called the rafa form, and the state or the mood is called marfu. When you see this, the fatha or the zabar, that means it's mansoob. And over the next few classes, you'll understand why this is important. Like even today, when we do a Quran lesson, you'll see situations where, you see instead of the form yafalu, you'll see this zabar. And then you'll understand that, okay, if this is in mansoob form, there needs to be one of these words that is acting on it. All right. You need to bear with me right now. As we do this, the importance of this lesson will start sinking in. It will start sinking in today, and then over time it will sink in even more. All right. So right now you just have to sort of trust me. And right now it's like a child. You just learn the terminology and how it makes sense. That will happen.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay. So the root here, what is the root? Yan jahun. Anybody? So what's the root? Exactly. Noon. Jeen. Ha. Does anybody remember what najaha means?
To be successful.
Exactly. Very good. Najaha means to be successful. So now yan jahun, first person, second person, third person?
Third person.
It's
Plural.
third person plural. So how would you translate this?
They were successful.
They were successful. Very good. So step one is they were successful. Now can you also tell me, and this one I'll just show
Actually,
you.
they are successful.
Exactly. They are successful because we are talking present tense. Very good. So they are successful. So is this, okay, let's see if you can remember. Is this marfu or mansoob?
This is marfu. Marfu because the noon hasn't dropped.
Exactly. This is marfu. So we'll just call it R for marfu because the noon hasn't dropped. Excellent. So Shahrukh, you get your credit. Okay, let's go with Dr. Ghani. So next one, do the same sort of analysis. Root word, meaning, then whether it's third person, second person, male, female, and then marfu or mansoob.
I'm sorry, Arif sir, we were just on a prayer break. We missed the last 10 minutes, both Kaustr and myself.
Okay.
Next time, when,
Maybe if you can
finish,
circulate
in the
back.
end, you can.
Okay,
I can try.
who is this?
Farooq.
MashaAllah, Farooq. Okay, go for it, Farooq.
So the root word is sama, which means hear, right?
Exactly, very good.
And then I think it is mansoob. I'm just checking.
Okay, first, before you get into mansoob, what does nasma'a mean then?
We hear.
Excellent. So it means we hear. And is this mansoob or marfu? Marfu
It's
is
not.
sort of,
It's. Yeah, I don't think it's marfu, but I might be wrong.
yeah. Well, go with your feeling. It's sort of a binary answer.
Yeah. But why aren't you asking me if it's manzoom?
Because I've told you that here we are just looking at marfu versus mansoob.
Ah, okay. Then I think it's marfu. No, hold on 1 second. It's mansoob.
Yeah, mansoob. Remember, mansoob means like nasab, so all the dhammas will get into fathas. So we here, this means that if you, in the Quran, if this is appearing, there would probably be a lan or something like that coming before. So lan nasma'a, this would literally mean we most definitely will not hear. Okay.
Okay.
Next,
just one question. So the fact that we've identified it's mansoob versus marfu, can you remind me what the significance of this is?
The significance is that when you have these words, lan, an, izan, and kai, when these words are operating on a verb, present tense verb, then the present tense verb will be written in mansoob form.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the significance. And later on, and today, when we do a Quranic segment and even when we do examples, like sometimes when you don't know enough, you don't observe things. So For example, up till now, and I've also not mentioned it, sometimes you'll see a present tense verb ending in a pesh. Sometimes you'll see a present tense verb ending in a zabar or fatha. Sometimes you will see sometimes you'll see yafaluna. Sometimes you will not see the noon. And up till now, I've sort of just brushed past it without mentioning it, and nobody brought it up yet. But now that we've studied this lesson, when you see yafalu, and you wonder why is the noon not there, you will understand. Okay. So up till now, you didn't even know that this rule existed. But now that this rule has, now that you're becoming aware of it, now when you see the Quran and you are looking at, third person male plural, sometimes there's a noon, sometimes there's not a noon. When you don't see a noon, that means that the meaning is being impacted by one of these, particles or huruf. Okay. Okay. So who wants to go next? Let's see.
Can I try?
Yeah. Who's this?
Talha.
Tala, go for it, Tala.
So
Same process.
the root word would be kataba, which means to write.
Well, it's simpler. Yeah, you're right. But what's the root? What are the three root words here?
Ka, ta, and ba.
Kaf, ta,
ba.
Exactly. Okay.
And it means to write.
You picked a difficult one in terms of the grammar, but let's, you started off well.
Okay.
So you get your first mark. Now, second mark is.
This is mansub.
No, before you go into mansub, you need to say whether this is male, female, first person, second person, third person.
It's second person, singular female.
Excellent. And second person. So how would you translate this?
You are writing.
Yeah, you write. Like you are writing has a continuous sense. This is just
okay.
You write, and you female singular write. Okay.
You single female, right? And this is gonna be mansub because the noon has been dropped for the singular female.
Had it been marfu, what would we have said?
It'll be taktubina.
Excellent. Good job, Tala. So full marks. So then it would have been taktu, the ba, ya. Taktubina would have been the marfu form, but this noon is not a female plural noon, so it's weak. So when that gets dropped, you have taktu bi, which means that there is one of those, the lan, an, one of those are acting on this. Very good. Okay. This next one is yakulna. Okay. Any volunteer?
So akala would be to eat, right?
Akala is to. Shahrukh, you've gone, so let Dr. Kashif give it a shot.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, certainly the root word is ka, la, noon.
No, the noon generally is not a root word.
Sorry,
it could be somewhere.
Akala.
Yeah, it's probably one of your favorite activities. So what does akala mean? For most of us. No. Akala. This alif is part of the root. This is not the alif that is saying I. This is akala is just part of the root word. The ya is indicating whether this is first person, second person, or third person. So what does yakulna mean?
Yakulna is third person male.
Exactly. So the ya tells you it's third person.
Yes.
What does this noon zabar tell you? Noon fatah.
It's plural.
Male singular.
It's male.
No, the male plural would be yakuluna.
So it's male singular.
No. This noon is for female.
Where is the slide?
Third female. Yaf'alna, yaf'alna, yaf'alna. So you notice the third person female plural, it ends with a noon zabar.
In the mansoob.
Okay, let's just take Rafa first. Your default thought process should all happen in Rafa, which is, you know, the noun is. So third person male is yaf'aluna. So for eating, it would be akaluna, and yaf'alna. Yaf'alna. So third person female is yaf'alna. Do you see this?
Yakaluna is.
So yakulna is third person female plural.
Where is female plural? Let me see.
The noon zabar at the end indicates that it is female plural.
Okay.
The ya in the beginning indicates that it's third person, and the alif kaf lam is the root. So the alif kaf lam tells you that eating, the ya tells you third person, and the noon zabar tells you female plural.
Okay.
And given, what did I say about the female plural noon?
It doesn't drop.
It doesn't drop. It's too strong. It's constant. Right? So here you can't tell whether this is a marfu or mansoob. Okay. All right. So next, tansuru. So Dr. Ghani, are you with the program now?
Yes.
Okay. So can you do this? Same process.
So this is second person madare.
So first of all, what's the root?
Nasara.
Yeah.
He helped.
So noon swad ra. So nasara is to help. Tansuru would be?
Tansuru would be second person, and it's in Rafa form.
Exactly.
So you are helping. You help.
You're
helping, or you will help. Yeah.
Yeah. You help or you will help. And this is. How do you know that this is marfu and not mansoob?
Because there's a pesh dhamma at the end.
Exactly. There's a dhamma at the end. So this is marfu. Okay, Dr. Shafiq.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
If we had to change this to mansoob, so the dhamma at the raw would become into a fatah?
Exactly. Correct.
Okay.
True. So the rule is when you are changing to mansoob, if there's a dhamma on the last letter, so this is called a change in Arab. You remember what's Arab? Arab is what's happening, at the end of the word. So sort of whatever sort of harakat you have at the end, that's called Arab. That tells you something about, whether the noun is in rafa nasab jar, or whether the verb is marfu, mansoob, or majroor. So Dr. Shafiq, do you remember so what's the root here?
Dawad ha kaf.
Okay, very good. Dhahika.
So being happy.
Yeah, to be.
Dhahika, being happy.
Yeah.
Laugh.
So it is.
More precisely, it means to laugh. Okay, so to laugh, and happy is close enough. Okay, so yadhaka. So what does this yadhaka mean?
It means,
so based on this, third person or second person or
happy.
first person?
Second person.
The ya.
Yadhaka.
This ya is the. Can everybody hear me? Is it my internet or Dr. Shafiq's internet?
Shafiq.
We can hear you.
Okay. This ya is this. Says that it's third person. Okay, so if I go back here, you notice, I'll just clean this up. notice that ya is associated with third person. The only place, so ya, the moment you see ya, you know it's third person.
Third person. Yeah.
Okay, so, and then what's the next thing you see over here?
The dual second person.
Yeah, it's
The
the
third person dual.
Yeah, it's third person dual, but in third person dual we normally have the noon, but the noon is
Right. Or drop.
dropped.
So it is
So it is.
Mansoob.
So it is mansoob. All right. So I think you sort of get the general idea here. I want to move on so I can actually show you examples where this is used. So, this is an exercise. So this is homework. And this is very good homework because not only is it reinforcing marfu versus mansoob, it's also taking you back and making sure you remember your conjugation and you remember some of your basic vocabulary. So before next class, I want everybody to do all these. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 12 verbs over here. So you need to do this whole analysis of the 12 verbs. Whether it is third person, second person. Yeah.
And this is dual?
Yeah, exactly. This is dual. So if you look at the alif and the noon, this is where we are, right? So it is dual.
Third person male dual.
Third person male dual, exactly. Okay. Now, similarly, I'm just going to give you the work over here. This is additional homework. Here, you need to pick whether it is marfu or majzoom. Like this one, this one is clearly majzoom. Majzoom ends with a sukun. The root word here is qaf ayn dal, which means to sit. So I'll just do this for you. Naq'ud means we sit, and we know that this is majzoom because of the sukun over here. Had it been marfu, it would be naq'udu. But since the dhamma is converted into a sukun, we know that this is majzoom. So your homework now is to do the same exercise here with respect to identifying the root, coming up with the meaning, doing the conjugation in the sense that you need to identify whether this is second person or third person or first person, male, female, singular, plural, etc. And then identify whether it is marfu or majzoom. So this is more homework. And now the last part before we go into our before we get into our exercises and then the Quran. So nawasib-e mudari. So this basically means what are the reasons that put a verb into mansoob form. So what makes a verb mansoob? And I've already given you these 4 before. These are the popular ones or the common ones. The most common one is lan, and we'll see this today. So lan means will not or never. So it is sort of an emphatic sort of negation of something, and it also generally takes things into the future, that this will never happen, right? When you want to say this will never happen, then, or some action will never happen, you precede it with a lan, and then the verb will get into mansoob form. An means that, so that something will happen, and we'll see examples of this. That also causes a fail mudari to become mansoob. Izan, which means then, that also causes a fail to become mansoob. Kai means so that. This normally is used to sort of create some logical sequence. So XYZ happens so that ABC can happen. So that's kai. This also causes the verb that follows to get into mansoob form. Hatta is until. Li is in order to, or so that. So li has other meanings also, but here when li is used in the sense that in order to or so that, then the verb becomes mansoob. So this is some vocab. I'll skip this for now. I'll just do this vocab. So I'll expect you to learn it. But here are some examples. Ya Musa, and we've seen this, those of us who've done the Al-Baqarah, segment so far. Do you notice, so what's the verb over here?
Nasara.
Nasara. Very good.
Nasbira.
So lan nasbira. Why do we have, normally what would you like? You might like the way we describe a verb, nasara, yan. So normally we would expect nasbiru, but we don't have the pesh. We have a zabar over here or a fatha. Why is that?
Mansub.
It's mansub because of the lan. So lan nasbira ala ta'amin wahidin. So the way this is translated is, O Musa, we will most certainly not be patient over a single food. So this is like emphatic. It's like a child just throwing a fit that I'm not going to eat this broccoli anymore, or I'm not going to have this, this single food anymore. So that emphatic refusal or denial is coming through lan. And because of the lan, the verb now is nasbira. Had the lan not been there, then we would have said nasbiru. And this shadda over here is just to connect the previous word. Okay. Next, falan yaghfirallahu lahum. Again, notice the lan. The lan is the most common reason for a verb to become mansub. Falai, this ya with the shadda is so that we connect. Yaghfira. Here again, notice the zabar. Had the lan not been there, it would have been yaghfiru. So, for example, the verb form is ghafara, yaghfiru. But when you have lan, it's not yaghfiru, it becomes yaghfira. Okay. La abrahu hatta. So I will not stop. This is in Surah Kahf where Hazrat Musa is going with his, servant, and he said, I will not stop until, we reach the confluence of the two rivers. So la abrahu. So this does not have lan. This doesn't have one of those four words. So here we have the dhamma. And wa inna, indeed we, lan nadhu la. So this fatha over here is because of the lan. And then hatta, until. This is another, hatta is another word which causes the verb to become majroor. So hatta, until. How do you know that this is how do you know that this is mansub?
Because it's yakhrujuna. Instead of yakhrujuna, it's
yeah, the noon is dropped. So up till now, you probably didn't even notice that the noon is dropped. But from now on, whenever you see one of these, you will notice that it's in mansub. Mansub means that as long as the noon is not a female plural noon, it's going to be dropped. Lan tuqabbala. How do you know that this is mansub?
Taqbala instead of taqbalu. Tuqbala.
Yeah, exactly. It's tuqbala. So the moment you know that, if you just see tuqbala, you should be looking at why is there a zabar over here. In case you missed the lan, then you need to go look at, what is the verb, what is the sort of the word because of which this is in mansub. Okay, here again, falan abraha. So this is a zabar over here, or then hatta, until, ya azana li abi. So we hear, until he hears. Again, this is a fatha over here. All right. So in today's lesson, I focused more on the mansub. In the next lesson, we will talk about majzoom. So your action items, again, your homework, I want you to do all these 12 again. Pick marfu versus mansub. Then I want you to do this, pick marfu versus majzoom. Then I want you to learn all these words. These lan, an, izan, kai, hatta, li. Just the way you learned the harfe jar. The same way you need to learn these, what's called nawasib mudare. So what does nawasib mudare mean? Nawasib mudare is, those words that put the mudare into mansub form. And if you are to just remember one, which one would you remember?
Lan.
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 If you are to remember 4, like if you want to
Lan
just,
an.
like sort of, if you want a 50% grade, literally 50% of the time you have lan. Then, you know, to get to sort of the 90% mark, you remember the top 4. And then if you want to be 100%, or actually 95%, then you remember hatta and li. And then the remaining 5% is, you know, out of scope for this course. But there are a few more. But like as far as the Quran is concerned, these 6 should cover you.